Welcome back to this edition of Nationwide. We're here in County Offaly to look back on over 60 years of Boardnamona and ESB. And next we meet two men who not only worked in the power stations in Shannonbridge and Lanesborough, but were to go on to make the county here a powerhouse on the GAA scene. Liam Kearns was born and reared in Kilcormac. Little did he know he would make history and become a dual hurling and football All-Ireland medal winner from these modest roots.
Well, I was born here in Kilcormac in a place called, in the Boardnamona estate called St. Cormac's Park. Number 81 is just over there. And every Sunday morning in the 60s, after Mass, we would always come out here to this green in front of us, and there would be about 30 people in there, mostly fathers and sons playing hurling. And there'd be about 3 slitters or 4 slitters there, and they'd be all broken up and everything. And if you got a puck of a ball in a half an hour, you were doing well. And that's how our Sundays, you just couldn't, when Mass was over, you just ran into the house and got your hurley stick and out you went like a gazelle to hurl. There's 104 families here, so you had no shortage of teams to play against. This area here in St. Cormac's Park was known as the back of the park, and we used to have competitions between the back and the front of the park would be over that side. We'd number 1 up to whatever, and we'd have games, and the games would be serious.
The occasion of the All-Ireland Hurling Final, unique in this 1981, the first time Offaly have ever been here for a final.
Well, I was a footballer on the football team before I was on the hurling team. I played for Offaly under 21 for 5 years in football and hurling. And then when I was 18, my last year as a minor, I was one of the last matches I played in Croke Park as a minor. Eugene McGee was at the game, and he obviously must have liked what he saw in me, but he asked me onto the football team, onto the panel. But there's one thing I could do when I got onto teams, I could run. I mightn't be able to play football that great, but I could run. And that's how I think I got my place in that team.
Liam Kearns, he's got Pat Carroll inside him, but he's going on. He takes his shot and he sends it over.
Following year then, things went on. I was staying with the footballers and the hurlers, and I was on both teams just switching around and enjoying it, loved playing, loved the training and all that. And then the hurlers then got to an All-Ireland hurling final. I was only on the team less than a year, and here I am midfield, the youngest player in the team. Didn't know what, just went out and played, that's all I did. And next minute you win, and then the rest is history.
Coming all the way up the field, Liam, who played in the hurling final and the football final last year, doing his stuff and putting that one over after almost 6 minutes of play.
When you were in these games, you knew that Kerry were very good. They were a better team than Offaly at that time. But we were playing them every year, and we were getting closer and closer. And then in 82 came then, we had all that experience behind us. And we knew in our heart and souls that we weren't that bad. And we just gave it our best shot and came out the winners. And it was a great experience to have a medal on board.
And there goes the Samuel Ware Cup high in the hands of the captain.
Liam's place in the GAA Hall of Fame was shared by another great of the game, a Cork politician, and a third man he met up with in the 1980s.
So what happened? This picture here came about in 1982. Jack Lynch, I see in the middle of that photograph, he were at a function in Dublin, and he knew that this man was still alive. So the three of us are connected through the GAA, having won All-Ireland medals in hurling football in successive years. So Lynch got Eugene McGee to ring for a taxi. We left the Gresham Hotel and went out to this man's house in Rathfarnham. And of course phoned him up before we went out. Of course we went into the room, the sitting room where he was, and he was absolutely gobsmacked. Jack Lynch was only 2 years previous to that, you know. And the three of us walked in, and he told the stories. One particular story he was marking Michael Hogan in 1920 with that All-Ireland football final against Tip, and they were crawling off the pitch, and Michael Hogan let a shot. Frank Burke was beside him, and he obviously survived it. But it's extraordinary to be in a room. I was very young at the time, and it went over my head a little bit. But it's now I treasure this photograph. I really do. It's an unusual one, and it's nice to have.
And there's Sean Lowry, and he's got the ball, and he's going to hold on to it.
Holding on to the ball at the end of one of the greatest shocks in All-Ireland final history is something that gave Sean Lowry a golden place in the GAA archive. He won 3 All-Ireland medals while working for the ESB all the time.
I think a crowd of like-minded people coming together at the one time, and probably talented as well, you know. I mean, it's very difficult in a small county with the populations we have to get so many footballers together, you know. I was lucky enough to meet two bunches because I was in the 71 and the 72 and now the 82 as well, so.
When you look back at your two All-Irelands and your other successes in football and indeed hurling over the last 30, 40 years, do you think it would have been achieved without the presence of ESB on board Namona?
Oh, not a chance. Not a chance. I'd say there wasn't a chance of that. You had 5 of the starting 15, you know, so that was a lot. And I mean, if the ESB or Boardnamona weren't there, Mick O'Rourke played with, or worked with Boardnamona as well, so I mean, that was a big, the nucleus of the team, really, you know.
And perhaps I suppose the influence of ESB and Boardnamona was waning a little bit in the 80s, but not that much. Again, you had a strong representation of the two companies on the team and on the
Not
panels.
that much. I mean, of the 6 backs that started the All-Ireland in 82, 4 of them worked for ESB and Boardnamona. There was Liam Corrams and Michael Lowry, the brother of mine, myself and Pat Fitzgerald. And John Guinan then worked with Boardnamona as well, so there was another 5 there again. So it was waning, but it was still fierce important, you know, and very, very important.
Good company to work for.
Terrific company, the best in the world. And I mean, we paid into a pension scheme all our lives, and an awful lot of people gave out about it all during the years because they'd look at their wage slip and see the superannuation, 10% gone out of your wages. But mind you, when you get to my age now, it makes, you're not giving out now.
So over 60 years of great memories and great times working on the bog and in the power station have come to an end.